And one. Good day, everybody. This is Councillor Chris Thiessen filling in for Councillor O'Toole on today's Strategy and Communications Committee meeting. For the meeting, you can call me Chair O'Thiessen. Should go good with the time. But besides doing the business, we also have to go into the in-camera business as well. Seeing as we have no delegations, I'll look to our members of committee to make a motion to go in camera. Councillor Bosch. All right, that motion's in order, and we'll call to question. Councillor Thiessen in favor. Good day, everyone. Welcome back to our December 5th Strategy and Communication Services Committee. We are back from in-camera discussion, and we'll move right on into reports with item 3.1, our service area update, and I'll turn it over to Chief McEachern.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. So for our service area update today, we'll start with the City Clerk's office. The Board Commission Committee recruitment call has closed as of November 24th. To date, we have 45 applications received. And also, the City Clerk's office just this past week conducted a bylaw, policy, and report writing training for service for city service areas, and for a couple of different areas, and it was really well received. A new initiative we've started to assist with report writing, and I think it's something that we will continue on given the feedback we've received. Corporate Communications shared following information with residents. The KMSC Law sponsors the Public Skated Design Work Center, the Coordinated Care Campus, welcoming Mustard Seed as a new service provider, December marking free initiatives for accessible transit riders, and the Grand North Winter Festival sponsorship opportunities that are available. Intergovernmental Affairs, Indigenous Relations. We are developing an Indigenous training module for city staff. It's going to be on Biz Trainer and will be available in first quarter of 2024. We also hosted another successful council's interfaith breakfast. 70 faith leaders and community members attended that. And work is continuing with the Regional Branding Committee to develop a regional brand. The committee is narrowing down some options. We hope to have a decision on that soon. Human Resources has been exceptionally busy. We had a successful application for the 2024 Municipal Internship Program, and we're currently looking to find a student who will join administration in the spring, and that will be for 18 months. In culture, we had our staff employee engagement survey was completed in November. We've had over 610 employees that provided feedback, and the consultant's going to be working on an initial report back to the Culture Action Group in December. From that, we'll be able to inform our roadmap for success pathways in 2024 and 2025. Corporate marketing, we're assisting with the turnout for the tree lighting event. The corporate marketing department did quite a bit of support for that very successful event. And the Rec and Culture social media pages are having a positive increase overall in comparison to last year. Some really interesting data coming out of that. We've had 77% increase in impressions, 32% increase in engagements, and a whopping 2,455%, and that's not a typo that was provided to me, 2,455% increase in video views. Yeah. Marketing efforts have also assisted with ELC selling out their holiday passes in 1 hour, which was a new record for this initiative. And we did an analysis of the top 10 most visited website pages over the past year. It was really intriguing to note that the Rural Renewal Stream pages secured the top spot, amassing almost 250,000 views out of a total of 3 million views. It's really interesting as well in that the time visitors spent on these pages. And with that, I can take any questions.
Wow. Any questions? I got Mayor Clayton in the queue.
Thanks, Chair Thiessen. Chief McEachern, can you tell me in regards to the increase in video views, was there certain times a year, certain topics, certain items that really saw an increase, or was it across the board?
Thank you. Through the chair. That is information I can gather. I don't have that information, but I'm more than happy to share that after.
Any other questions from committee or council? Seeing none here and none online, I'd like to say thank you, Chief McEachern. Your bundle of sunshine and a basket of joy here today. Nothing but good news coming out of that seat. So we will move along into our other reports. Item 3.2, we have Council Policy 120, City Manager Performance Management, and I'll turn it back to Chief McEachern to introduce this.
Thank you, Chair. So today we are bringing forward Council Policy 120, which is the City Manager's Performance Management Policy. This policy is an HR policy, and hence we have our Chief Human Resources Officer, Bobby Chamberlain, here to present on it. And with that, I can pass it over to Ms. Chamberlain.
Welcome, Ms. Chamberlain.
Thank you so much. In front of you, you will see the staff report, and in addition, a couple of attachments. Really, this is housekeeping. We looked at the policy and made a few changes regarding gender-neutral language in order to be more inclusive. The other one is some change in responsibilities with the org structure change that occurred in the fall of 2022. 2022, and then the additional responsibilities being that it is council that sets direction and performance rather than the city for the CAO. With that, I'll take any questions.
Awesome. I'll turn it over to committee, but I don't see any hands going right up. But I do have one question, Ms. Chamberlain. In regards to responsibilities under the city manager, I believe it's bullet point 4. It says, at some frequency, the city manager will engage a CLT in a 360 feedback process to obtain feedback that can improve the overall effectiveness of the city manager. Why the term some frequency rather than annually, semi-annually? Is it just for the CAO to determine when they would gather with CLT and bring that information back to council, or should we be a bit more clear in this process, do you think?
Great question. Thank you through the chair. I think 360s offer an opportunity and can be very fluid based on the situation. And so I personally like the idea of at some frequency can be determined either through council to the CAO to CLT instead of being a little more prescriptive. But happy to take that back.
Okay. I wonder what other council members might think. Councillor Bressy.
Thank you. I think the one section that did pop out to me also was the 360 feedback process. Not so much timing, but I wonder what the intention there is in terms of when I read that it's talking about, hey, we're only going to ask CLT to engage in this process, but that seems to me that it's not a 360 review. So how would this be interpreted?
Ms. Chamberlain.
Thank you through the chair. Great question. I'd have to take that back because I don't believe the intent would be solely CLT. Of course, a 360 is above, below, laterally, and then clients, right, or customers.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. I'll look for other questions from committee or council. Councillor O'Connor.
Yes, I really like how comprehensive this is, and the 360 does stand out for me, a very important tool, and then the involvement with city council. I think that's really important to have that feedback on a regular basis. So, thank you.
All right, thank you for that, Councillor O'Connor. Any other questions from committee or council? Councillor Bosch.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. I guess my question is, before it goes further, will you need time to do some of these changes, particularly on the 360 piece?
I would maybe look for some direction on that. I'm not sure normally how that goes. I apologize through the chair.
No, that's totally acceptable. Chief McEacher.
Thank you, Chair. We can take a look at it, but I believe we may be able to address it in the procedure. In that case, we can still proceed.
So proceed with the update or approved updates? Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to make comment here. I can't make motions. As far as the whole document, I approve and love the changes largely. Clarity, I also agree with Councillor Bressy, which is why I asked about the language at some frequency. Being part of other organizations who have recently undertaken a 360 review, it's a pretty arduous process, and I imagine with so many working pieces in the city of Grande Prairie, maybe even more. Are we going down to the director level below the chiefs? Are we getting into management below the directors? And at some frequency. So For me, I can send this to council, but I might be trying some wordsmithing myself to try to make some amendments when it comes to committee. But just looking for clarity at when the city manager would engage in a 360, and as Councillor Bressie said, how deep. Councillor Blackmore.
I'm quite happy with the terms at some frequency because I feel that that frequency is set by the mayor and council on an ad-need basis. And because it's arduous and expensive to do a 360, I don't feel we need to be prescriptive in a timeline.
Yeah, no, those points are well taken, Councillor Blackmore. I feel like that one point could, to your point, be dropped down to City Council in our role in engaging that 360 process. I did see Mayor Clayton in the queue, and I have Councillor Bressie as well. Sorry, I'm removing Councillor Bressie from the queue. Mayor Clayton.
There's some wording in the procedure that I think should be amended in regards to the Schedule A. There's not an assumption that there's an increase in salaries or an adjustment, so I think it's a potential salary adjustment in on both September 15th dates, as well as you can word it how you want on the one following that, but it's process any salary adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
It's there's not an assumption that there's a salary adjustment.
Noted. Thank you.
And to the mayor's point, it's largely based on performance perceived by council.
Thank you.
Any other comments or discussion? Seeing none, I'll take a motion from any of our committee members to send this to council.
I'll do it.
Councillor Bosch.
Thank you. With the potential little changes that you're going to bring to council, I'm fine to move this forward. I move that committee recommend council approve updates to policy 120, city manager performance management.
That motion is in order. I see the gears turning in Mayor Clayton.
I think that those should be identified. Your motion should identify the changes you want to see.
Okay. So the changes would be the salary change that Mayor Clayton had put in there, and so
The language.
and what was mine?
I think I just if I
Oh, the 360.
yeah. Okay.
So based off of
Sorry if I could, Chair.
You bet, Mayor
I
Clayton.
suggest that you remove the word CLT on page 2 of policy 120, item 4.1.5, 4.15. A5, I guess it is. Just remove the word CLT. So at some frequency, the city manager will engage in a 360 feedback process.
Noted.
So, and HR knows what a 360 is. It doesn't need to say CLT.
just a question, Mayor Clayton and or Councillor Bosch. Typically, whenever we've engaged in a 360 feedback process on boards or committees that I've been on, it usually comes directly from the board. Are we going to put that in the city manager's hands to do his own 360 or to determine when? Or should we just, my simple suggestion is just drop that down into the city council role.
I think it was going through chief of staff, if I'm not mistaken, in the report.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so just to clarify with our city clerk, we are removing CLT from the 360. Okay,
Yes.
perfect. That is loud and clear for me. Anyone else? Call the question. All in favor? All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Chamberlain.
Thank you.
And moving right along, we have no correspondence, no other business. And back into bylaw and policy review, we got item 7.1, bylaw amendment C-1422, boards and committees. And I will turn this over to Chief McEachern to introduce once more.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. So this bylaw amendment C1422 boards and committees is a result of this previously coming forward to committee. It is in regards to some adjustments for the Youth Advisory Committee public members appointment. And with that, I will hand it over to our City Clerk and Director of Legislative Services, Ms. Hanson.
Welcome, Ms. Hanson.
Thank you. Through the chair, presenting as Chief McEachran had mentioned, this is coming back from the October meeting of council where youth advisory members were appointed. There is a considerable interest in participation at that committee, and council had an interest to ensure that the membership was increased to allow for youth to be involved in the Youth Advisory Committee. As we always do when we're bringing back a change, we do a review on the bylaw, and so there were some additional housekeeping items, editorial, that were amended as well. And so on the definitions side, the city public member definition, and this was more to do with being 18 or over. The wording the assumption was 18, but the wording actually indicated more that it was over 18, so to ensure that it was inclusive of 18-year-olds. And then the youth member definition was expanded as well. The recommendation coming forward to increase the number of members on the Youth Advisory Committee is to a maximum of 18, and from the previous 12. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much for that, Ms. Hanson. Just speaking as a member appointed by the mayor to sit on Youth Council, really buoyed, and I think Councillor O'Connor can probably share the sentiment that there is a lot of engagement with this group of youth that's come out. And after our first Youth Council meeting, I had 2 youths come up to me and ask about how they could get their friend involved, and 1 youth come up to me at the Remembrance Day ceremony asking to be involved. He was already on student council, so that's great. Our kids want to make a difference in our community, and the way I feel is the more the merrier, and I'm sure I share the sentiment of everyone around council, especially my former youth council alumni, I think Councillor Bressie and Bosch that are sitting here today. So I'm in favor of this. I do have one question, though, and it's just for my own self, Ms. Hanson. When we changed the definitions for youth member and public member, what I noticed was that a youth member can also be a public member because they fit in that 20 up to 24-year-old category. Is this a change that we have to make, or is it something where if we have somebody who's in the youth category and we're specifically looking on a board or committee for a representative from the youth, that we would look at the age of the applicant in order to make that appointment?
To the chair, basically the appointment of any members is at the discretion of council. The adult members are 18 or over. The youth members go to 24. And so with other committees of the city, there is the ability for a member to sit on multiple committees if council so desires. And so if a member that was on the Youth Advisory Committee also wanted to put their name forward for another committee, council could entertain that and make that decision at that time if they wanted to appoint them.
And it wouldn't exclude them?
No.
Awesome. Councillor Bosch.
Thank you. This is just a question totally out of left field for you, but sorry. Because we're dealing with youth on this committee, is there something in policies for criminal record checks?
Ms.
On
Hanson?
this particular committee?
Yes, because it's a youth committee.
Through the chair, I'm not aware of any requirement for criminal record check pertaining to this committee.
I bring that up because anytime we deal with, for instance, the Rotary Club, and you're dealing with youth in any capacity, that criminal record check has to be facilitated in order to be on that committee or that group. So can we look into that, if that is a necessary piece that we need to have in our policies?
Through the chair, we definitely could do some more research on that, and who would be required to have the criminal record check, whether it's the youth member themselves who may be 15, or whether it is the individuals who are actually assisting with the committee. And so we may need to get clarification on
I
that.
think it's over 18 dealing with the youth within the committee, regardless if it's a public member or not.
Yeah, and I guess I got some thoughts on that because anyone under 18 is typically protected under the Young Offenders Act, and now we're creating a tier between you're over 18, so now you have to get a criminal record check. I mean, if we wanted it, we could probably pay for it. I mean, we did reduce the cost for that to happen a few years back, so it's not out of the reach of some of our youth, but. Anyways, I would hate to put up any obstacles for them wanting to join in youth council. It's not a bad idea, though. Councillor O'Connor.
Yes, thank you. Following along the same vein, I'm finding that I thought youth was under 18, and I find it curious. Is there somewhere that defines under 24 as youth? And now we're having people that are now out in the workforce and not a youth, so to speak. So I'm a little curious as to why that is up to 24.
Ms. Hanson.
Through the chair to Councillor O'Connor, my understanding would be the allowance for up to 24 does provide an opportunity for youth that are still in school. They're attending post-secondary school at the Northwest Polytech. And so it gives that opportunity for more youth engagement that may not be actually in the workforce at that time.
Okay. I don't sit on this particular committee, but I'm concerned, as Councillor Bosch mentioned, the criminal record checks of someone that up to 24, if they're going to be working with vulnerable children. I think it's something that we should be taking a look at. So thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor O'Connor. I have Chief McEachern.
Thank you. Through the chair, just to add to that, Councillor O'Connor, the federal government and the provincial government both define youth as 24 and under, so we are in line with that definition.
Thank you for that, Chief McEachern. I was actually going to throw in my 2 cents there too, saying exactly the same thing. I like that it comes from the professionals, though. Any other questions? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion if there is one to be had from our committee members. Go ahead, Councillor Bosch.
Thank you. I don't mind doing this, but if we could just check on that, I would appreciate that one little piece if we looked into it. But as far as the bylaw, I'll go ahead with this. I move that committee recommend council give 3 readings to bylaw C-1422C, being an amendment to the boards and committees bylaw.
Right, that motion is in order. I'll look for any discussion or debate arising. Seeing none, I'll call the question. And that motion carries 3-0. We'll see that back at council. Thank you very much, Ms. Hanson. And moving right along, right into our outstanding items list. And once again, I'll turn the floor over to Chief McEachern.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. For the outstanding items list, we request that 1224 be moved to Q1 2024, please.
Right, that motion, or sorry, no motion there. Thank you for that, Chief McEachern. Got the updates. Look for a motion to approve as amended. Councillor Bosch. Call to question. All in favor? Sorry, Jessica, I got you moving all over the place here with the cameras. But and that motion carries. Thank you very much for your attention here today, members of the public and our staff. We'll be closing this meeting down and adjourn it, and we'll be back in about 5 minutes for our Protective and Public Services Committee meeting. Thank you so much.